excited. It's module 4 already. Oh my gosh. We have a few more modules to go, so stay tuned and keep learning. I am particularly excited about this module because it's one of my favorite things to talk about, attention grabbers. And in this module, we'll be learning what attention grabbers are, headlines, hooks, and openings, the do's and don'ts of attention grabbing content, and finally, how to write attention grabbing content. I hope you're excited, so get ready to keep learning. This module's quote states, the idea is to write it so that people hear it and it slides through the brain and goes straight to the heart. And this is the whole point of an attention grabbing content. You want people to get stuck on your website, on your Instagram post, and just be there and consume all the information you have for them. So yes, think about attention grabbers as something that you use to tie your audience down in a good way. I would like to ask you a question. Have you ever tried to grab someone's attention and how did you do it? I would love to learn your strategy. So please can you drop them in the chat? And let's continue with what attention grabbers are. Attention grabbers are writing elements designed to capture your readers' interest immediately and encourage them to keep reading or to continue reading. In digital content, readers often decide within seconds whether to engage with a piece of content. I'm sure you've been on some pages and you're like, no, this is not for me. That's the importance of attention grabber. And attention grabbing content would hook you to that person's page and even let you yearn and want more of their content. So if you're thinking of attention grabbers, think of something that would hook your readers, grab their attention immediately, and get them stuck on your page. When it comes to creating attention grabbing content, we need to think about this three important things: headlines, hooks, and openings. Let's start with headlines. Headlines are usually the first thing a reader notices. For instance, headline, hooks, and openings. That is an example of a headline. It's something that stands out to your reader, and an effective headline needs to communicate clearly what your content is about. If you look at my headline in the slide, it states headlines, hooks, and openings. This gives you a kind of introduction into what I'm going to talk about. That's what you want your headline to do as well. You want your headline to clearly communicate to your readers, to your audience, what your content is all about. An effective headline would also address a reader's need, curiosity, or problem. This is an example of a headline: 5 ways to become rich in the next 10 years. 5 ways to build your writing portfolio. These are examples of a headline. You're telling your readers what your content is about, and you also give them an insight into whatever solution you're providing. And lastly, an effective headline should use simple and direct language. Do not forget, the less you do, the more effective your content is. So do not overdo, do not overstimulate your readers with an exaggerated headline. Just keep it simple, use direct language. Another strong point we need to talk about when it comes to writing and attention grabbing content is hooks. Hooks are super important. Your hooks are important. A hook is the opening sentence or short paragraph that draws the reader in. A question could be a hook. Imagine something like this: have you ever thought about why people die every day? That is a hook. That's something that's going to draw your readers in. And these are the characteristics of strong hooks. A strong hook asks a thought-provoking question, like the example I gave you earlier. It also presents a relatable problem. Think about your audience. What problem do you think they might be facing? And use that problem as a hook to draw them in. And lastly, a strong hook makes a clear, interesting statement. You don't want to confuse your reader with your hook, so your hook also needs to be simple, understandable, direct. Simple, understandable, and direct. And hooks should feel natural and relevant to the topic. You don't want to use a different hook when your topic or your content is something different entirely. So just make sure your hooks are relevant to the topic, they're simple, they're direct, and do not go overboard with them. Lastly, another strong component of an attention grabbing content is openings. Openings are important. The opening paragraph sets the tone for the entire piece. Imagine if you have a boring opening, trust me, your readers are not going to go ahead with your content. And these are the characteristics of good openings. Good openings introduce the topic clearly. It gives your readers something to look forward to within your content. It also explains why it matters to the reader. You want to tell your reader why your content matters to them, why they should stay on your website, why they should stay on your blog post, why they should stay on your Instagram post. You know how some people just come to you, will just pop up on your Instagram post and tell you, wait, before you skip this video, here are 5 things you need to learn about finances. Something like that. It also encourages continued reading. Once you draw your readers in, they're like, I actually like this. I want to start learning how to be more intentional about my finances. Now, that's an example of a good opening. Now, let's talk about one of the most interesting parts in this module, examples of attention grabbers. There are many more examples. I don't want you to limit yourself to these examples that you're seeing on the slides. There are many more examples of attention grabbers. You can choose to let a question be an attention grabber. You can choose to let your title be your attention grabber, or a simple expression. It could even be like a humor, but don't go overboard with it. Now let's look at some examples. Ignorance, keep me locked up in darkness, far away from knowledge. Now, this is the title of an essay. I want you to think about that title for a moment, that attention grabbing title for a moment. Ignorance, keep me locked up in darkness, far away from knowledge. I don't know, that stimulates my brain in a kind of way. It tells me, okay, there is the use of ignorance, there is the use of darkness. It merges the repercussion of being ignorant, right? It says ignorance, meaning there's a repercussion attached to ignorance, which is darkness. So ignorance keep me locked up in darkness, far away from knowledge. Another example, jealousy was my partner and I basked in self-pity. To me, that's so beautiful, and this is a statement from a short story. It could be about a character explaining to the readers what's going on in their lives, and they're just telling us that jealousy was my partner. See, the person did not say I was jealous, the person said jealousy was my partner, and I basked in self pity. The last example we have here, don't you dare touch our students. I feel like that's such a command. It says, don't you dare touch our students. And guess what? That is a title of a research paper. Imagine. So your research papers don't have to be boring. I know you're a science student. I know you're carrying out research regarding a PhD work, but you could also, do something with your titles. Your titles don't have to be boring. Think about these 3 examples and come up with your example, because guess what? We're going to be writing a prompt in this module. Stay tuned. Let's talk about some do's and don'ts of attention grabbers. The first thing I want you to do is to have fun while writing. That is the main thing. Just have fun. Don't let any limitations keep you boxed in and you're just thinking mechanically. So think emotionally, think freely. The first do that I would say is to have fun while writing. Another do that you need to have in mind when it comes to writing attention grabbing content is to focus on relevance. Do not go overboard. Do not do too much with your attention grabbers. Do not do too much. Make sure it's still relevant to your topic. If you're asking a question, make sure that that question is relevant to your content. Another do is to be clear and honest. Clickbait on YouTube. Somebody died today, or somebody got swallowed by a fish, and then when you watch the YouTube video absolutely nothing. You know all those Nigerian movies that you watch on YouTube, the princess who got married to the king, something something, and then you're like, oh, that's such a long title. But then when you watch the movie, it's nothing related. So you don't want to do that to your audience. Be clear and honest. Another do is to keep the opening concise. You don't want a very long, you don't want a long opening, a long hook, or a long headline. Just make sure it's clear and concise. Now let's talk about the don'ts. If we have do's, we have don'ts. Let's talk about the don'ts. Don't use clickbait or misleading statements. Like I said earlier, don't do this. You don't want to confuse your audience, because trust me, if your audience clicks on something and it's not real, it's not correct, it's not accurate, they might unfollow you. Don't use clickbait, don't use misleading statements, don't do too much. Be original and simple. You only have a few seconds to capture someone's attention, so don't do too much. Don't take any chances. Be sure that you use statements that are clear and concise. Don't tell your audience something that you cannot deliver. Do not make promises the content cannot deliver. Don't tell your audience in the beginning, like maybe as the headline, you have something like this: 5 ways to make money in 2026. And you did not even mention the 5 ways in your content. That's such a big lie. So don't make promises that your content cannot deliver. Now that you understand what attention grabbers are and examples of attention grabbers, let's look at how you can write attention grabbing content. The first step is to focus on your audience. I know I've been mentioning audience a lot in this modules, but it's because you're writing content for a particular set of people. And if no one reads your content, then there is no point in creating content. If no one listens to what you have, there's no point doing anything about it. So focus on your target audience. What will intrigue them? If you're writing to students, you don't want to say something that has to do with a lavish lifestyle. For instance, if you're a food content creator and you want to write something that's going to help students, you could say something along the lines of low budget jollof rice, or low budget noodles, or how to make noodles and egg in 5 minutes, how to save up some money while studying. These are examples of attention grabbing content, something that would help your audience. If you're talking to students, if you're talking to market women, the same thing. Focus on them. What will intrigue them? For market women, you could talk about finances, how to budget your finances. If you're talking to pastors, for instance, you could talk about their faith, how to grow spiritually in 5 ways. Just make sure you're specific. Make sure your content is specific and delivers. So focus on your audience. Think about what will intrigue them. Another thing is to choose a captivating title. Choose a captivating title, because people will look at your title first before they watch anything you have, before they listen to anything you have. So your titles are important. Another step is to choose a headline style that fits the platform. If you're writing on LinkedIn, choose a style that fits LinkedIn. If you're writing on Instagram, choose a style that fits Instagram. If you're writing a blog post, do not use an Instagram headline style for a blog post. So make sure that you choose a headline style that matches the particular platform you're choosing to write on. Another step is to share statistics, show figures for non-fiction writing. If you're writing a research paper, you definitely want to use statistics. You don't want to just say things from your head, knowledge from your head. You want to show things that are real. You want to give examples that are real, so that when people go back to search, they will know that you know your audience and you know what you're talking about. And lastly, on this slide, show, don't tell. If you're writing a poem, if you're describing something, make sure that you show your audience, you don't tell them. If someone is nervous, don't just type, they were nervous. Remember the example I gave earlier? Jealousy was my partner and I basked in self-pity. I did not write I was jealous. I wrote jealousy was my partner and I basked in self pity. Now, this is for those who are interested in writing novels, stories, not fiction, fiction writing. Make sure you show your audience, you don't tell them. Let your audience feel. I feel like I'm talking too much about this because we're also going to look at it in other slides. But yes, show, don't tell. Now let's talk about another exciting part. It's a quick writing prompt. I want you to describe your current environment to your group members. Look around you. Are you in a library? Are you in your home? Are you in your house? Are you in church? Are you anywhere? Just describe your current environment to your group members. Remember, you want to show your group members, you don't want to tell them. Don't tell them, I'm sitting on a couch. Describe the color of the couch. Describe what the couch feels like as if they are going to sit on it. So just describe your current environment to your group members. I want to see how you guys are going to do. Now let's wrap this module up. In this module, we've looked at attention grabbers. One thing I want you to take away from this module is the meaning of attention grabbers, and I'm going to explain it again. Attention grabbers help you as a writer to earn your reader's interest by being relevant, clear, and engaging from the start. Again, a question could be an attention grabber. Your topic could be an attention grabber, just something that will hook your readers and keep them grabbed. Keep their interest grabbed, keep their attention grabbed. You want to ensure that your content keeps your readers' interest grabbed. You don't want to give them something boring to work with. So hook your readers and keep hooking them and keep them hooked. Now that we've talked about attention grabbers, I hope you understand how you can use them in your course project. Again, I want two things from you: your first draft, which is the raw writing, and your final edited version, which is a polished version of your first draft.